Good evening everyone, welcome to Sparks Academy. In the live session லப்பா நம்ம CTSE Diploma ITI Post Code 535 Electronic Mechanics கான answer key discussion பார்க்க போறோம். First question பார்த்தீங்க அப்படின்னா, the term for circuit element that allows current to flow in only one direction. எதுலன்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா it is on diode. Full form of PMMC, permanent magnet moving coil meter. Okay, next third question பார்த்தீங்க அப்படின்னா, the instrument used for measuring the specific gravity of the electrolyte in a lead acid battery is called hydrometer. The following which one is characteristic of moving ion ammeter? Actually வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா which one is not ன்னு கேட்கணும்னு நினைக்கிறேன். The option will be used as a permanent magnet. In meter, which type of ohm meter is best suited for measuring low resistance? It is of shunt ohm meter. The main purpose of flux in soldering is to keep the metal surface clean and oxide free. A double pole double throw switch has how many terminals? It has 6 terminals. Next ma, 8th question பார்த்தீங்க அப்படின்னா, dash is the process of solder molecules combining with the molecules of the metals being soldered. Wetting. A digital multimeter cannot measure capacitance. Which type of switch is commonly used for simple on-off control of a circuit? SPST. Next ma, 11th question. A digital storage oscilloscope has 2 modes. The analog signal is digitized using A to D converter. The purpose of a shunt and an ammeter is to bypass the current. In function generator IC 8038, typically how many pins are there? It is of 14 pins. An alkaline cell used in a wall clock typically generates a voltage of 1.5 volt. Next பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, why is it important to report unsafe condition? It is to prevent future accidents and injuries. The purpose of the safety glasses in PPE, to protect against dust, chemical and flying debris. Next பார்த்தீங்க அப்படின்னா, mandatory signs are generally dash in shape, circular. How often should PPE be inspected before use? Before each use, it should be inspected. Next 20th question பார்த்தீங்க அப்படின்னா, is the 60-degree dot punch used for witness mark? Which of the following is a key component of TDM system? Multiplexer. A 1 to 4 demultiplex has how many selection lines? 2. Next பார்த்தீங்க அப்படின்னா, the sharing of a medium and its link by 2 or more devices is called multiplexing. Name of the component is typically used for demodulating a PAM, low pass filter. Which type of modulation is used in military applications? It is of FM SSB and AM SSB. ரெண்டுலயுமே தான் யூஸ் ஆகும். We have to check for wait answer key ரெண்டுல எது கொடுக்குறாங்க இல்ல ரெண்டுக்குமே கொடுக்குறாங்க. பட் மேக்ஸிமம் ரெண்டுக்குமே தான் யூஸ் ஆகுதுப்பா. ஸோ இது ஸ்டார் மார்க் கொஸ்டின் தான். ஆர் CD should be the answer. Next பார்த்தீங்க அப்படின்னா, the purpose of peak clipper circuits in radio transmitters is to prevent overmodulation. In a demultiplexer, the selection lines determine which output line receives the input signal. Next 28th question பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, what type of multiplexing is commonly used in analog AM radio broadcasting? It is of FDM, frequency division multiplexing. If a receiver is dead, one of the possible fault is defective IF amplifier. A process which occurs in a transmitter is modulation. Which of the following is an advantage of SSB-SC over DSB-SC? It requires less bandwidth. DSB-SC stands for double sideband suppressed carrier. AM broadcast contains carrier and one sideband. A balanced modulator produces double sideband suppressed carrier signal. Next, commercial FM broadcasting, the maximum permitted frequency deviation is 75 kHz. The radio receiver amplifies all the signal frequencies equally well if it is said to have high fidelity. Next பார்த்தீங்க அப்படினா a tuned radio frequency receiver typically includes multiple tuned RF amplifier stages. The percentage of modulation is 100 if the amplitude of signal and carrier waves are equal to each other. Next பார்த்தீங்க அப்படினா 39th question பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, what is the purpose of an antenna in a communication system? To convert electrical signals into electromagnetic waves and vice versa. For a low level AM system, the amplifier modulator stage must be linear device. Which organization is actively involved in the standardization of IoT protocols? IEEE. A smart street light adjusts brightness based on time of day and surrounding traffic. Which block is enabling this intelligence? Application block. Next பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, in agriculture IoT enables precision farming using sensor data. Which of these is not a data link layer technology? HTTP. Next பார்த்தீங்கன்னா 45th question, the type of sensor commonly used in IoT systems for detecting pollutants in the air, it is gas sensor. Which protocol is commonly used for wireless sensor networks in IoT applications? ZigBee. Next, the role of sensor in smart grid architecture in IoT. Collect data. Which of the following best describes the role of actuators in smart objects? Perform actions based on received commands. Which IEEE standard defines Wi-Fi? 802.11. Next, the component of IoT system that executes a program, a microcontroller. The transducer suited for high temperature and fast response system is a thermocouple. Next question பாருங்க. Magnetic pickup sensors produces pulse from a rotating shaft without mechanical contact. Which of the following is not a fundamental component of an IoT system? Transformer. The load cell sensors are always bonded with dash transducers, strain gauge. Thermistors are characterized by their negative temperature coefficient. The principle of operation of ultrasonic level sensors are sound waves. Which sensor can measure temperature without physical contact? Infrared sensor. LVDT is used for measuring displacement. Next பார்த்தீங்க அப்படினா 59th question என்ன கொடுத்திருக்காங்கன்னு பாருங்க. The most widely used inductance transducer is LVDT, which is linear variable differential transformer. A thermocouple is two dissimilar metals connected together. The term refers to the physical representation of a component on a PCB as footprint. A brown burn mark on PCB usually indicates component. MCBs are designed on the typical voltage range in 240 and 415. ESD in soldering SMD implies electrostatic discharge. What is the primary difference between a contactor and a relay? Current rating. Next pathina 66th question pathina, how does a circuit breaker trip when an overload occurs? Through a heat sensitive bimetallic strip. A variable reluctance stepper motor is constructed of dash materials with salient poles, ferromagnetic. Pathina, which one of the following type of motors is most suitable for a computer printer drive? Stepper. ELCB is to protect the circuit from leakage current. A fuse is never connected in the neutral line. HRC fuse provides best protection against short circuit. The disadvantage of SMT is difficulty in rework. Test points must be present on dash side of the PCB board that facilitates testing. Same side. In soldering process, the full form of LCCC, leadless ceramic chip carriers. Next, which technology offers a higher density of components? It is surface mount technology. The type of flux is suitable for soldering, rosin. Next pathina, the most common methods for removing excess solder or repairing bad SMD solder joints involve using solder wick or desoldering pump. A commonly used for performing a cold continuity check on a PCB instrument is multimeter. Mention the purpose of a solder marker on a PCB. To prevent oxidation and short circuit. In SMD soldering, what type of soldering ion tip is typically used for SMD soldering? It is of rendu option correct ma, conical, fine point, rendume correct da, but we have to wait for final answer key. How the circuit schematic drawn using the simulation software is tested? Using virtual oscilloscope. Simulation varumbodhu we are using virtual oscilloscope. As simulation is not an analytical model, therefore the result of simulation must be viewed as approximation. In the simulation process, which step specifies the conversion of VHDL intermediate code so that it is viewed, so that it can be used by the simulator? Elaboration. In circuit simulation, what is meant by event driven simulation? Simulating only when a change occurs in the circuit. To select one hyperlink after another during a slide presentation, what do you press? Tab. Which tab contains the options to change the font and paragraphs formatting of MS Word? Home. Sorry ma. Next pathina, how do you change the width of the column in Excel? Idukkume pathina, you will get the drag the column boundary and right click and select column width. Idu ellathukkume rendume exact options da, but answer கீழ என்ன கொடுக்குறாங்களோ அதுக்கு பொறுத்து தான். இது ஸ்டார் மார்க் கொடுப்பாங்களான்னு தெரியாது. இது ரெண்டுல எது கொடுத்திருந்தாலும் கரெக்ட் கொடுக்கலாம் இந்த क्वेश्चंसக்கெல்லாம். The device used to connect your computer to the internet is called router modem. The working principle of an SMPS, Chapo principle. The following storage device can store maximum amount of data, hard disk. Which of the following can access the server, web client? Next ma. A type of printer uses a laser beam and a toner cartridge to create images on paper. Laser printer, nameலே இருக்கு. How is data stored on HDD? It is of magnetically. Hard disks are organized as cylinders and tracks. Next question பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, the dash computer subsystem that performs operations on data. CPU. Which of this is an example of application software? Google Chrome. Which unit of computer is responsible for performing calculations and logical operations? ALU. The most common way to attach plug and socket connectors to a wire or cable is crimping. The primary role of an operating system to manage hardware and software. In TV receiver, the electron beam is deflected by electromagnetic deflection. The wavelength range of infrared radiation typically used in remote controls, 700 nanometer to 1 millimeter. HDMI stands High Definition Multimedia Interface. Name the color is produced by the additive mixing process of red with green in color TV, yellow. The main function of the infrared LED in a TV remote to transmit signals to the TV. Which scanning method is used in TV receiver with 625 lanes? Interlace scanning. A set-top box that receives signals via cable is often called a cable box. If your LED TV has a remote control issue, what should you check first? Remote, batteries and the remote sensor on the TV. The direction of electric field in an LCD is determined by crystalline surface structure. In LED TV, which semiconductor material is commonly used in the manufacture of blue and white LEDs? Gallium nitride. Identify the frequency of crystal used for outgoing calls in mobile phones, 26 MHz. GSM technology is a combination of TDMA and FDMA. The primary function of a base station in a cellular network to transmit and receive signals to and from mobile phones. Who has the responsibility of building and system maintenance function in cellular system? MSC. In mobile phone, what is the process of RF? To handle radio frequency transmission and reception. In mobile communication, what type multiplexing used in 1G mobile phones? It is of FDMA. Time period of 2G mobile phones, 1990 to 2000. In mobile phone, which component is responsible for converting the user voice into electrical signals? Microphone. You need to check for its short circuit on your phone. What tool should you use? It is of multimeter. Next question parangappa. Mention the purpose of IMEI number in cell phone. Identify the specific device. In JK flip-flop, no change condition appears when both are 0. The inputs of NAND gates are connected together. The resulting circuit is NOT gate. NAND na rendu connect pannita inverter act agum. Next பார்த்தீங்கன்னா the output for of the NOR gate is high if all inputs are low. The only function of NOT gate is to invert the input signal. The Boolean expression for OR gate plus. How many basic flip-flops are there? 4. An N-channel D MOSFET with a positive VGAT is operating in enhancement mode, which is suitable for making variable frequency drives, IGBT. Which region is responsible for conduction in IGBT? Drift. MOSFET stands for metal oxide semiconductor field effect transistor, the device that exhibits negative resistance region, UJT. Next பார்த்தீங்கன்னா when SCR is turned on, the voltage across is about 1 volt. And SCR combines the two features of rectifier and transistor. How many PN junction contains in diode? 2. And SCR conducts appreciable current when it is with respect to cathode. Anode gate both are positive. Next பார்த்தீங்கன்னா in a JFET the current flow is controlled by gate voltage. In P channel JFET the charge carriers are holes. Which of the following statement is true? FET is unipolar and BJT is bipolar. How many externally accessible terminals contain MOSFET? Actually பார்த்தீங்கன்னா அதில் substrate ஓட சேர்த்துனா 4 terminal இருக்கும். But we should not consider substrate ஏன்னா நாம் எடுத்துக்க போகிறது 3 pins மட்டும் தான், gate, source and drain. So 3 தான் வந்துட்டு external pins வச்சு பார்க்கும்போது ஆப்ஷனா இருக்குமா. Next பார்த்தீங்கன்னா the input control parameter of a JFET is gate voltage. The type of solar cell gives the highest efficiency in monocrystalline. The term photovoltaic comes from Greek. A solar cell converted light energy into electrical. The optical properties of liquid crystal depends on the direction of light. The efficiency of the solar cells can be around 17%. A dash is a multiple input multiple output logic circuit which converts coded input into coded outputs where the input and output are different. It is of encoder. Which is not an application of digital panel meter? Pressure measurement. The minimum operating voltage of a LCO panel may be 0.1 volt. The first LCD becomes commercially available in 1960s. LCD operates from a frequency range from 30 to 60 Hz. Which of the following segment is pin 1 in a 7 segment display? Point out. E. An LED is said to be on if the logic is I. A program that converts computer data into some code system other than the normal one is called encoder. If a decoder, in a decoder if the input is 101, which output line will be activated? Output line 5. How many 3 to 8 decoders are required to construct a 4 to 16 decoder? 2. Which type of fiber has the highest modal dispersion? Step index multimode. A device which converts electrical energy in the form of current into optical energy is called as optical source. Next பார்த்தீங்கன்னா In a multimode fiber, much of light coupled in the fiber from an LED is lost. It is a passive device which allows the flow of optical signal power in only one direction and preventing reflections in the backward direction. It is optical isolator. In fiber, wavelength of light has no role in polarization. The function of RST pin in microcontroller 8051 is reset input pin. In 8085 microprocessor, status of S0 and S1 pins for memory read. S0 should be 1 and S1 should be 0. In 8051 microcontroller, the resultant of two numbers added is stored in accumulator. The following software is used for programming a microcontroller. Kale. DIA instruction is used to perform which type of addition? BCD. A microprocessor is programmable logic device. 8085 microprocessor எத்தனை address lines இருக்கும்பா 16. Microprocessor 8085 has 40 connecting pins, whereas microcontroller 5 has 32. It is star mark. The register that can be automatically incremented or decremented after each DMA transfer. Current address register. The maximum addressing capability of Intel 8085 64 KB. The total amount of external code memory that can be interfaced to 8051 is same 64 KB. Actually, the question tappuma இது HTL கிடையாது HLT. End of the program, halt அப்படிங்கிறது. The 8051 microcontroller has 32 pins. The following bits are used for setting the data frame size. UCS Z0. Which of the following register are not bit addressable? Pcon. 8051 can handle dash interrupt, 5 interrupts. What kind of instruction usually affect the program counter? Call and jump. The 4-port P0, P1, P2 and P3 each use dash pins, 8 pins. Total it will be of 32. In the 8051 microcontroller, the operation of timer 1 can be controlled using TR1. In 8051 microcontroller, the minimum number of cycles required for reset operation, 2 mission cycles. To transfer data between the microcontroller and memory in dash bus is used, data bus. SMPs are preferred over linear power supplies in many applications because they are higher efficiency and compact. In SMPS, for high frequency operation switching device is commonly used in MOSFET. In SMPS, which components acts as a switch to control the flow of current? Switching transistor. Next question பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, which type of inverter is commonly used in solar power systems for grid tie applications? Grid tie inverter. Pulse width modulation is a technique used in inverter for controlling the output voltage and reducing harmonics. A power MOSFET can capable to handle current up to few hundred amperes. So, kuduthirukadula 100 amperes will be most appropriate. The following devices require a battery, UPS. The device used for switching in switched mode supply is MOSFET. The following is not a necessary component in a damper circuit, DC supply. Smith trigger is a circuit that can be used for converting sine wave into square wave. next பார்த்தீங்கன்னா if the load resistance decreases in a zener regulator then zener current increases. The base resistor method is generally used in switching circuit. The maximum reverse voltage the diode can withstand is called peak inverse voltage. The value of flux involves the EMF equation of a transformer, maximum value. The main application of a zener diode is voltage regulation. An inductor will block alternative current. Next பார்த்தீங்க அப்படினா the complex impedance of a series RLC circuit at off power frequency is Z equal to R root 2. The Kirchhoff's law is based on charge cannot be accumulated at the node. A potential difference of 10 volt is applied across a conductor whose resistance is 2.5 ohm. What is the value of current flowing through it? 4 ampere. If a network has 68 nodes and 200 branches, the number of independent loop current are 133. So, இப்போ 535 கான answer key வந்து discuss பண்ணிருக்கோம்பா. இதில் ஏதாவது உங்களுக்கு doubts இருக்கா அப்படின்னா comment sectionல post பண்ணுங்க, கண்டிப்பா clarify பண்ண பார்க்கலாம். Similar-ஆ பார்த்தீங்கன்னா கூட descriptionல form வந்து attach பண்ணிருக்காங்க வேற course codes-க்கு. நீங்க உங்களோட answer key check பண்ணிட்டீங்க அப்படின்னா Google form fill பண்ணீங்கங்கும்போது cut off predict பண்றதுக்கு ஈஸியா இருக்கும், அது ஈஸியா provide பண்ண முடியும். Thank you people, thank you for watching and thank you for joining.